Sunday morning and getting ready to go to the gym. And usually I like to just kind of sit here for a little bit before I walk in there, get my thoughts together, have a little mental exercise, some physical exercise, really use the gym as a space to like meditate and center myself. And I want to discuss a couple of things in reference to new moons and energy. Emotionally and mentally, new moons are times where people generally try to steal your energy. But it's not the moon, it's the people around. Like, people have a desire to be successful, to be great for themselves. And then when it comes to like the assistance that we need as humans, we never really get that. We're usually walking around the Walking Dead, really lost. We can be really lost in a society that doesn't teach us values, right? Not morals, finances, how to be a successful individual, but what's the value of a human in relationships, how you're able to attract relationships, your network. Last night I was thinking how people say they want money, but they rarely say I want a network. They rarely say I want to build my audience. They rarely say they want to come up with a product that millions of people are going to love and can't live without. They just simply say they want money. They don't say they want to get business chops and communicate more effectively. So, in the space of being intentional, being deliberate, we enter into a new moon where the normal distractions are out there. The spiritual distractions are out there. Everything is trying to steal your energy. And the reason why a lower vibration can fuck with you is because you're already there, right? A mugger can't mug you if you're not in the back alley, right? And so spiritually, these places are when we don't understand relationships, and we don't understand love, and we don't understand submission, and we don't understand cooperation, and we don't understand having a mutual benefit, and we don't understand how to give and receive in equal measure. We're usually outside of the fold. We're wanting something. You want to wake up every day and get the money, or get the bag, or get the relationship, or get this or get that. But really, it's this deep love quotient and this deep understanding of, one, who are we? Where do we come from? And what is our purpose here? Like, where are we going? And I hypothesize that we are, one, cosmic, and we don't recognize that cosmic reality. We're more of the human lower self, subjective individual. But the power comes in realizing that you are cosmic, so the memory has to be remembered. Your awareness has to be fixated, and your drive has to be motivated in truth. And when those things are working in your favor, you'll start to see that, wow, you got a lot of work to do, because a lot of people are in that lower human self. And so you could just be a god all by yourself, and I feel like that's what a lot of people generally choose, because you can't get inside a person's mind. But when you're a spiritual person and you're trying to do the spiritual work, you have to think about people. You have to think about helping people, even when you're struggling, even when you're going through what you're going through. There is something in us that needs to assist and be assisted. What we actually crave is the knowledge of the information that we don't know, but we know that once we know it, we're to the next level. What is the thing that I'm missing? What is the thing that is holding me back? This is what we crave. This is what we're seeking. And this is what a spiritual person might feel like they have to offer you. But that thing that you're missing, that thing that you're craving, is love, intimate, actual, real love. In the way that society has set it up, we've burnt out that energy, or we don't have the skills to actually be grateful for it, or we don't know how to get it. They teach us how to get money, they teach us how to get real estate, but they don't teach us how to find the love within. They don't teach us how to accept change in love, right? We want things to be one way, how we want them to be, and outside of how they want them to, outside of what we want them to be, we're generally in a space of shutdown or shut out, or, not really dealing with it. This is what we're taught. This is how we learn. And so this is what we have to contend with. Wanting things to stay the same in a world where things constantly change. And then when things change, we don't know how to handle it. So we want a relationship if it's perfect. We want a job if it's perfect. We want a house as long as we don't got to do a lot of repairs. We don't want a car that we have to fix. We don't want to go into a business and it looks shabby. We want that business to look like it's clean, it's got its shit together. We find comfort in these things, but the reality is you can go in certain parts of Detroit and see entropy. And then you can go into other parts of Detroit and you can see a new beginning. But what is happening in the world? Where are we at in this world? Where are we at in this planet? I can see a lot of women having one-night stands on dating apps. I see a lot of men trying to get as much pussy as they can get. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, people sit with all of their sexual energy and lustful intentions burnt out and confused. And then when it's time to solve the problems, and then when it's time to get into solution base, the cause to the problem, which is the lust, the lower self, the undirected sexual energy, never being taught that, okay, you like this person, don't mean that you should have sex with them on no level. That's not a good barometer for sexual energy exchange. But yet and still, society says if you like somebody, or if you give them a chance, or if you have like an excellent one night stand or some shit, or you have a great date with somebody, y'all hit it off, the next steps is, oh, let's have sex. This is general consensus understanding for life. It's a drive for people to have relationships. It's a drive for people to have sex. But the missing link is the drive to be spiritual masters, because sex is spiritual. Sex is life. Sex is creation. Sex is love. Sex is God. Sex encompasses all realities and all things, but you have nice buildings, you have shitty buildings, you have nice cars, you have shitty cars, you have all of these external things. But when you get to the root thing that's going to make you happy, that's going to put you in a space of joy, and it's not going to be the sex that you had with a person. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about Leo, when we're talking about lust. The analogy for having sex, when you want to have sex, is like getting a cup of water. When you're thirsty, dying of thirst, and you absolutely need to drink water, and you get the freshest spring water, pour it in a cup, and you just throw it on the ground. Makes no sense. So when we have sexual energy and we seek to have sex, or we seek to masturbate, we're wasting our sexual chi. We're wasting our sexual energy. So to extrapolate what I'm actually saying, every time you have sex, you're wasting your energy. And is it a bad thing to pour water on the ground? No, I could be pouring some for the dead homies. But ultimately, it's not going to meet the purpose. When you crave sex, that's an internal feeling. All right, your hormones are coursing through your body, and you can do a variety of different things. You don't have to masturbate. You don't have to have sex. What you actually can begin to do is send that energy up, or go to the gym, or read a book, or do something worthwhile. Do something that is going to further you. Like you're thirsty, and now spirit is giving you the hormones for you to actually replenish yourself. But since society tells us, hey, it's perfectly normal to just fuck a stranger. You can fuck a stranger. There's nothing wrong with that. Shit, I fuck strangers all the time. What are you talking about? I can't understand spirituality. I can't talk to y'all about spirituality if you don't understand the sexual relationship and the sexual consciousness that happens when you raise your energy. The problem is most people don't understand sex because they have sex. They take their sexual energy and they pour it out, or they give it to another person, or they give it to a porn site. But what if I told you that sex was meditation? Sex was taking that energy, going in, centering yourself, building up your ashe, building up your chi, building up your power, building up your force over time. Slowly but surely. Some people ask about semen retention. And it's not about semen retention more than it is about semen awareness. How do you feed your sperm? What foods do you eat? And ultimately, is it a part of your significant other's diet? Because really, since we don't know ourselves, we look at ourselves as nasty, disgusting, vile creatures. Let's talk about sex, baby. Menstruation is the most powerful time that your wife will ever experience. Semen is the most nutrient-rich food that your wife can ingest. It's not nothing nasty. It's not nothing gross. You know when they get nasty and gross? When you start doing this shit with people that you don't even fucking know. That's when it don't make no fucking sense. But my wife know exactly what I eat, because she generally cooking the meals. So she gonna give me, this is the science, she gonna give me what she want to receive. So when your wife cooking you chicken and pork, and then you alchemize that through your body, and then y'all, this is grown folk talk. See, when you an adult, this is the type of stuff that happens. You and your wife have sex, and you exchange bodily fluids and energies. This is why when you can have sex with your wife every single day, all day, every day, and never catch a disease. Do you understand that? But you can do the same action with strangers. You can do the same action. People say, oh, it's perfectly fine to be homosexual. But why don't y'all tell people what happened when you have homosexual sex without a condom? Why don't y'all ever say what happened? And it's not even to say you're going to catch a disease, but a lot of men got to go to the hospital because I know people that tell me stuff about their experiences. And I'm like, wow, I'll never want to do that. That sounds excruciating on both sides. When you have this type of sex, your body says, this isn't right. You'll get a disease. You'll get an infection. But tell me why you can fuck your wife from sun up to sundown, relatively, with exceptions. Sometimes you do get that little, y'all get that little carpet burn. You've been fucking too much, right? Get the little carpet burn. Got to put a little Vaseline on it or whatever, because you've been going hard in the paint, right? Relatively. But generally, you ain't gonna catch no disease. You ain't gonna catch no infection. But the moment you start having sex with strangers, you getting diseases and infections. Don't y'all think that's God's way of saying you ain't supposed to do that? If you gotta have sex with a condom, ain't that God kind of saying you shouldn't have this sex? Now, what are you supposed to do in the meantime, in between time? Develop your power, develop your energy. So as much as this new moon is about sex and sexual energy, what is sex? Is it the shit that society have fed us? Or is it something much more personal? And if it is personal, how do we access it? I think it's time for us to start to get real with ourselves and start to, for me anyways, critically examining my anger, my disappointment, my sadness, as opposed to letting it run amok. What do I mean by run amok? Anger, when unexamined, is like being in prison. And I've been in prison. Can't get out. You locked in. Got guards. Sometimes you be angry at your kids. Sometimes you be angry at yourself. Sometimes you be angry at your parents. Sometimes you be angry at people that you love. But that anger is a prison. And I think that as much as I'm starting to study it, and as much as I'm trying to like break the barriers within myself, understanding narcissistic tendencies And I'm just the type of person to say, I would be the type of person to either be like, no, I'm not narcissistic. I can never be narcissistic, and just push it out of my mind, right? And then just kind of live life like, narcissism? I'm not narcissistic. Kiss my ass, right? But what I was doing last night, which was really healing for me, I was just reading, what are narcissistic people like, right? And when I was reading, I was saying, how do I exhibit these characters? When I did that, I was able to make the changes. I was able to free myself out of the prison of anger, because anger is, you feel me? When you mad, it ain't always like, I know why I'm mad, so I'm avoid the anger. Sometimes anger will just come up, smack you in the face. I'm not going to say that everybody is narcissistic. I'm going to say that maybe I'm going to say I display narcissistic behaviors because it's something that's in my brain. Like, it's something that I want to look at and understand and study. I ain't telling y'all to do shit. I'm imagining y'all to be perfect and me to be the only fucked up person on the planet. And this is why I'm having this conversation on the work that I have to do to develop my power. Now, in a perfect world, I would want us all to examine the ways that we are fucked up, right? And start to do that work. Because a motherfucking pretty ass motherfucker gonna come up in here, is gonna say some shit that ain't gonna make no fucking sense. They gonna look halfway decent, and they gonna get up off this motherfucker. But they ain't gonna get into the nitty gritty of who they are internally, intrinsically, and want it. This is lust. This is sex. I want peace. I want my soul so bad that I don't even want to fuck. I want to get the peace of mind, that peace of mind that have escaped me for so long. And it's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit. But when I'm addressing a new moon, I'm also knowing that how I feel is a real make or break for how the month is going to go. And generally, I have to contend with my feelings. I have to fight. I have to deal with a negative. Something happened. This or that, or this or that, or this or that. And then I have to kind of not feel based upon the circumstance. And that's the hardest thing. But I'm telling you, my soul have given me this challenge my whole life. Kyrie, we're going to give you this weird ass circumstance. Feel good about it. And it's like a fucking an intelligence test or something. Can he feel good in this fucked up situation? We're going to put him in prison. We're going to put him in the projects. We're going to put him in the dungeon. We're going to put him in the hole. We're going to put him in the fucking clinic. We're going to put him here. We're going to put him there. We're going to put him in the ghetto. We're going to put him in the bottoms. And I'm still Kyrie. And I'm still here. Spirit, like, you passed this one. You passed this one. What is the lesson? I'm really trying to get out of my way at this point. And it goes back to the original point. And I don't think, well, the original point of this video is that change. I can't wait. I can't expect things to stay the same. I have to really understand change, accept change, and change. And continue to change, and continue to grow, and continue to find that deep spiritual space within myself that comes from the clearing of the mind, the meditation, the not getting overwhelmed with the external. Understanding my principles, standing in my principles, understanding why they're even principles. Because I ain't going to say who I am is a great person. I'm just learning how to not compare myself to other people. I'm learning how to not be angry at people for doing what they do. This is me being narcissistic. This is me changing. Because I realize that my anger towards whatever happened is blocking me. It's holding me up. It's fucking me up. So if I see a motherfucker punch me in the face, and every day I get on this live and say, remember that motherfucker punched me in the face, man? That nigga punched me in the face hard. That nigga punched me for no reason. The more that I speak on that, the more that I'm keeping it in my vortex. And it's hard to let things go. It's hard to change. It's hard to understand, but life will. So now I'm just in a space where power is an ability to act, an ability to change, and force is trying to push on something that won't move, and I'm trying to push it, and I'm trying to move it, and it won't move. That's force. But power is understanding it won't move and going a different direction, or finding a spell, finding a ritual, or finding a meditation to get it to move. But I ain't gonna force shit no more. Or I'm working on not forcing things. I'm working on my emotions. I'm working on me. And I don't got no... I think part of having narcissistic tendencies is wanting people to look at you a certain way. And then I'll be like, well, I don't want people to look at me a certain way. And that's bullshit. I do. But the reality is, I gotta get out of that. Look at me how you must. I'm working on myself. I have real serious dreams that ego, and I guess one would say having a narcissistic disposition, would block me from my dreams. Because the work that you do on putting up a facade could be the work that I do to create or build my power. You know, life ain't easy for me. Sometimes I get overwhelmed. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck? And those are the times that I forget that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Those are the times where I am inundated with the human experience and I'm not able to feel. But I don't know, maybe in the future I'll be more pure. Maybe I haven't been pure. Maybe I've been pure as shit. I don't know. I'm just thinking presently, today, in the desire to be more pure, the desire to accept changes, the desire to change for the better, for my family, for myself, for my wife. I'm not perfect. And I never said I was perfect, but in my mind, you know, because I do this work and I read these books and I do these things, that I be acting like at some point the rubber is going to hit the road, like, oh yeah, perfection. But maybe it's never going to be perfect. How do I deal with that? And it's not something that like is hard for me to deal with. It's just an awareness. It's just another level. It's just a deeper progression in my shadow work to say, I'm giving up any facade. I'm going to feel how I feel. And another way that I'm understanding it and I'm growing into it is communication, where I've been talking to people like they reading the same book, right, that I'm reading. And that's not a way that I should have been communicating with y'all. I should communicate as if y'all don't know anything, and I'm illuminating y'all in reference to something that I know for the people who don't know. So maybe they would know. If I'm imagining or assuming that you do know, nobody knows, nobody grows. I'm just in an echo chamber. So it's a lot of things that I'm changing and really kind of reducing myself and getting back to a base level, because the changes that I want to happen for myself are like so real. And when I get to a point of understanding like what's the blocks, and then it's like, okay, these are your blocks. Like Spirit was like, these are your blocks. This is what you're going to deal with. You know, certain things were taken away from me. Certain things I'm trying to get back. Certain things I gotta be like, okay, that's going. I gotta move on. And it's like very traumatic, very disturbing. But the crazy part is, it been that way, right? But when you kind of dealing with the world and dealing with, well, when I was just kind of just, like, let me just kind of backtrack real quick. 2020 exacerbated the spiritual community, the online spiritual community. So after 2020, before 2020, or after 2020 rather, millions of people entered this community, and now all of a sudden they were master teachers, healers. Before 2020, people didn't have websites selling products, right? Look at their business. When did you start your online business? I started mine in 2016, right? 2016, most of these people had jobs. Not really throwing no shade, but I'm saying that psychologically, like, I'm slow. Meaning that it take a minute for me to catch up. But once I catch up, I got your ass type shit. So you can fool me once, you can fool me twice, but you're not going to fool me 3 times. So after 2020, once you have a demand for millions of people really craving nothing, right? Because you can't get shit online. In the realms of spirituality, the same way you can watch a television show on TV is the same way you can watch a spiritual nigga online. A bunch of gooble gobble nothing, right? But instantly these people became professionals. Instantly these people was making hundreds and thousands of dollars, mind-blowing money. People be like, all right, join this shit here for this amount of money, and you don't get shit from it, right? Because I know there ain't a lot of people in the chat, but if I gave you everything spiritual right now, would you take it? Or if I gave you true love and true dude, like if I gave you somebody that's going to love you for the rest of your life, right? Would you take that? Or would you take a motherfucker who got an internet account, got some marketing, got a budget, got some fucking books, got some regurgitation, got some online recorded conversation where they just talking about some shit and relying on you to take some notes? I'm gonna give you all of that, as opposed to just giving you the true love that you truly want, and for you to get out your own way and develop the true utter intimacy that life offers, true love that life offers. See, the internet can't help you with that shit. The internet have literally fucked that whole shit up. I don't want nothing that a nigga online got to offer me, right? Even myself. You gotta understand, this is why when you hear me speak and you hear me talk, I gotta be honest with y'all. Cause it's easy for me. Like I like before 2020, I was doing this shit. And after 2020, I seen a lot of people start to do the same thing that I was already doing, and that shit fucked my head up. It really fucked my brain up. And I was like, damn. But then I start to realize, and I guess spirit start to work with me and say, the reality is that it's a lot of people in this thing. And I'm going to get my time. I just have to continue to do my work. I have to continuously build myself up. I have to approach this in a different kind of way. I have to reattack this shit. Like I've developed and created and started over and took over shit before, I can still do the same things. Right? And now it's just that time to change. It's like, I was very much narcissistic in my tendency when I see people stealing from me, right? I would be angry at them. That's narcissistic of me to be angry at somebody for stealing from me. Or because I think in a certain way where I would rather be your partner, and the next person in another way thinking, oh, I'm gonna steal this nigga's ideas. I'm gonna steal this nigga's ideas. I'm gonna do everything that he do. I'm gonna make money off of it. And I'm gonna try to be his friend. It'd be the last part for me. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna talk to him as if Kyrie don't even got eyes. Narcissistic of me to think that that person would be hurtful towards me. Because it is hurtful. But until I start to work on my okay, even deeper. The manipulator attracts the narcissist. Because that's karma. I said the manipulator attracts the narcissist. Because for which you shouldn't manipulate and you shouldn't be a narc. So when you are not able to have the emotional capacity, articulate your desires, speak from a place of true love, you attract a narcissistic man. You attract a narcissistic woman. Because when you're honest, when you are forthcoming, a narcissistic person can't handle those types of environments. The moment that you start being honest with a narcissistic person, they're instantly going to leave you alone. So this is why I'm getting off of myself, but I don't mean to. I'm just going to try to belabor a point. Most people are narcissistic because most people can't handle the truth. The truth is, how many one night stands did you have? That's the truth. Versus, let's not talk about my one night stands. Because if I tell you my one night stands, you might look at me as a hoe. Society is very narcissistic. It's very much of looking at situations, judging them, not having the emotional capacity to understand the ins and outs, the origins, the cause and effects, the sum total of events. So all it would do was seek to manipulate, seek to love bomb, seek to get you into a particular situation and hurt you. But if you were open and honest about who you were as a woman, as a man, the narcissist can't survive. But we like the victim. We love the victim. We uphold the victim mentality. So we become survivors of narcissists, except we don't become creators of narcissists through our inability to be honest, inability to be truthful. So let me get to the gym and get to my day. I just wanted to get some shit off of my chest in a good way, and be able to move on. And from there, this week, I don't know what's going to happen, but I got a lot of things in store. But I got a lot of things that I want to do, but I have a lot of institutional things that I got to work out, and I'll keep y'all updated. Peace.